Number 2, hopefully this time it works. But hello, my name is Colt and I'm the furry teacher. And for today's video, I'm going to be discussing a Wisconsin school district accusation of having a quote-unquote furry protocol. I have the sneaking suspicion this may get out of the furry space, so I figured I should clarify something. I am in fact a furry, so I feel like I have some authority on this topic to see just how many things they got wrong in their accusations. I already went through the Twitter accusations that were made, and holy crap, were they inaccurate. So let's go through an actual news article discussing it. So, to start us off, claim the Waukene School District in a suburb of Madison, Wisconsin has a, quote, furry protocol that allows students to identify as, quote, furries to opt out of speaking class, sit, lick their paws during gym class, and bark and growl in hallways. Okay, so, say things which they have gotten wrong. Well, furries speak. The entire concept of furry, so furries revolve around the concept of an anthropomorphic animal. Anthropomorphic meaning it has humanoid characteristics, i.e. can talk. So that would make no sense for them to claim to be furries if they don't want to speak. Sit and lick their paws during gym class, that makes no fucking sense. And bark and growl in hallways. I guess, but it's so freaking weird. And abnormal, even in furry spaces. Their assessment, it's false, obviously. The district does not have a protocol for students to identify as animals, and it doesn't allow disruptions at school, according to the superintendent of said school district. I think that kind of clears it up pretty well. So let's look at the facts. A baseless rumor that students who dress up as animals are getting special treatment in a Wisconsin school district is circulating widely online this week after a conservative radio host said she received an email about the issue last month. So, that is a semi-true statement. People who dress up as animals can get special treatment. For instance, when it's Halloween and they have a costume contest, a furry costume usually outdoes everybody else because they're higher quality and, well, significantly more expensive. But, again, that is a special circumstance, not the majority of circumstances, like what is being discussed in this article. Anyway, continuing on. Quote, the furries can choose whether they want to speak in class or not. Well, that's not a furry. Read part of the purported email shared on screen in a video version of the podcast hosted by a University of Wisconsin Oshkosh professor. Quote, the furries are allowed to dress in their choice of furry costumes. The furries can choose not to run in gym class, but instead sit at the feet of the teacher and lick their paws. Barking, hissing, and similar animal noises are commonplace in the hallways of the schools. And I could see weird noises being commonplace in the hallways of schools because kids are freaking weird. Anyway, the claim is completely false, according to Guttenberg, who clarified in an email to the Associated Press that, quote, the Waukene Community School District does not have any protocols for furries, nor do we allow disruption in our schools and classrooms. So, I will continue this in a little bit, but I would also like to point out, there are groups of people who act like animals. I should have a little bit about them popping up on the screen right about now. The thing is, those aren't furries. Those are otherkin. As previously mentioned, furries are described as people who have an interest in anthropomorphic animals or animals which are human-like. But then you have otherkin who believe that they are partially, at least in spirit, animal. Then you also have therians who believe they are partially in spirit animals, which are either like dragons and things like that, which aren't actually real. Anyway, continuing on, the bogus claim comes as lawmakers and political candidates have shared similar misinformation about student, quote, furries in Michigan, Nebraska, and other Wisconsin school districts amid culture wars and legislation action involving gender identification in schools. And now we get to the meat of why this stuff keeps happening, because this isn't the first time that this has happened. I think actually I have the video on it about someone claiming that schools were lowering a lunchroom table so furries could eat without using their hands, despite the fact their lunch tables physically can't be lowered, that they had litter boxes in school and bathrooms, which was also entirely false. And the entire point of all of this bullshit, pardon my French, is as an excuse to try to attack trans people, because they can't directly attack trans people because, well, that's frowned upon in our civilized society. So instead they attack furries because, well, it's easier to do so, especially after things like the CSI episode, which was wildly inaccurate, which I could do a whole entire rant on, but that's kind of about it. It's kind of just their excuse to get away with attacking, LGBT and trans folk because, well, they're weird, and then it just kind of goes downhill from there. But hopefully this has been informational, educational. Hopefully you've learned a little bit. If you're a non-furry watching this and you have any questions, comment down below. You might get featured in a video, and I will make sure to answer your questions. I do my best in that regard. So that's all I have for today, folks. Have a good day, stay safe, stay fluffy, and I'll see you next time.